one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was what is known as derivative injuries. So, and this is from the standpoint of a workers' compensation case. So I wanted to explain this because there are at times issues that come up regarding how some part of an injury may have taken place, or a completely separate fact pattern that comes as a result of having originally gotten hurt at work. And there can be several different kinds of derivative injuries in several different kinds of places. And of course, as you well can imagine, the insurance company who doesn't want to pay on the original claim to begin with certainly is going to have more objections to these derivative injuries. But nonetheless, the law says, too bad, so sad, that's their responsibility. So let's just jump right into that. Workers' comp says you're entitled to receive medical treatment, you're out of work, you get paid, and then you're entitled to an award for the injury that is as a result of the work accident. So, for example, if I get hurt at work and I hurt my left knee, and now I am, favoring my right knee because I'm putting my weight on my right knee, and I do that for an extended period of time, and then something happens to my right knee, unrelated to the original accident. In other words, it didn't get hurt in the original accident, but it gets hurt because my left knee took such an injury that it required me to use my right knee more. That's the derivative injury. And so our argument would be that the right knee now is part of the workers' compensation claim. So that's one example. So I've had a client who was actually on their way into the doctor's office for their visit, and they tripped and fractured their arm because they put their arm out, and it was a leg injury, but they tripped on their way into the doctor's office. That's the authorized doctor for the workers' comp visit. They wouldn't have been there but for the original injury. And so that fractured arm became part of the workers' compensation claim, right? Now, where it gets, and so that's really sort of, you can see that. In other words, you can really see how that should be derivative, right? But here's the one that sort of we've had. Someone's at home and they're trying to negotiate stairs, and either, let's say it's a back injury or it's a leg injury, and they trip and fall down the flight of stairs. So our argument, of course, is, well, the way they had to traverse the stairs, or while they were going up the stairs, they had a muscle spasm in their lower back that caused them to fall. And as a result, whatever happens from the fall is as a derivative of the original injury and therefore should be covered by workers' compensation. And so what happens is that's going to be where the fight's going to be on that example, right? So the insurance company is going to say, well, you could fall at home at any time. Well, it may or may not be true, but then it becomes important to then, when you're seeing doctors subsequent to that fall, the conversation has to be, hey, I was having trouble negotiating the stairwell, and as a result, that caused, I had a muscle spasm that caused me not to be able to keep going. I lost my footing and I fell, right? So the conversation to the doctors subsequent to that kind of derivative fall has got to be focused on, I fell because of something from the original injury. Now, that's the important part. I mean, that's why we're here Saturday mornings, right? And, but really and truly, what usually happens is nobody is thinking that way because they're in pain because they've now fallen down the flight of stairs. All right. And so they're going to just say, I fell. Now, then it becomes a matter of curing that issue later on by reminding them to keep telling the doctor that I fell, yes, but I fell because. And that becomes important. And I agree with Loretta. And muscle spasms, it's like anything else. It can actually seize, and as a result, causes you not to be able to think about what it is that you're currently doing. So it becomes very difficult. So as a result, what's important to remember is that if there's something that comes from the original injury, or if the original injury is causing something else to happen, and I'll explain that in a second, those are information, that's what you got to know. You got to know, and the reason to know that is because what's going to happen, the mechanics. Here's what's going to happen. Mechanically, the insurance company is going to deny the derivative claim. Fine. So that allows us to say to a client, okay, the insurance company is denying this additional part of your injury. Go see a doctor, because we have an email or we have a letter or we have something that denies the person from seeing treatment for the subsequent fall or whatever, okay? So we have a denial. So now go see a doctor on your own using your own insurance and have the doctor say, well, yeah, based on your history that you're saying I overcompensated or I had a spasm and it caused me to fall. And so it's as a result of that. Now we have a doctor's note that says that there is an issue and that it is related to that subsequent fall. And now we go into court and fight about it. Or because it's denied, now we have the opportunity to decide, do we want to just let you receive the treatment on your own, because you can go see anybody you want at that point, and then we'll fight about later on whether they're responsible or not. That's an option also. So it depends on whether or not you have insurance, whether or not there are co-pays, whether or not that's what's going to keep you out of work. So in other words, if the derivative injury becomes the reason that you're not working, not the original injury, and the insurance company is denying that, that's the fact pattern that would require us to jump back into workers' comp and go fight about it. Because that way you can get paid from workers' compensation while you're now receiving treatment for the derivative injury.